Hi, it's me. I was just having a little mini like dance party while the stream was paused. Well, I mean, like while I was on the standby screen. I've been dancing a lot lately. It started with just dance, and then now I've been doing dance church all the time. It's great. Dancing's good. Hi, I'm Scott. Scott Garner. If you've forgotten, it's been a while. Also, this is like a new situation. I'm in a new place. I'm doing a new thing. So, you may be watching this for different reasons than I'm normally used to, which is I'm actually used to like nobody watching except Life is Yours and Draclin. Yeah, so I'm doing a residency with the Children's Museum of Pittsburgh. I'm the digital artist in residency, digital artist in residence, tech artist in residence. I should probably know that, but I kind of forgot. Anyway, I work with the Children's Museum all the time, and I adore them. They're like one of my favorite groups of people to work with. And it's been a while, though, since I've done a straight-up residency. I did my first residency with them in 2013, and I made Reach. Let's look at Reach. Should we look at Reach? We can look at Reach later. Anyway, I made a thing called Reach. Since then, I've worked with them on a lot of projects, but they've been kind of like work-for-hire projects to do really fun projects, but like, working on a Rube Goldberg exhibit or a Eric Carle exhibit, and that's been super fun. But I'm excited this time to work on my own thing again for their new space museum lab. I'm sure there's like some proper verbiage I'm supposed to use when I speak of these things, so maybe I'll figure that out. Anyway, obviously, everything's insane in the world right now. Draclin, I'll answer your question one moment. My train of thought is derailed. The world's a little crazy. The museum is unfortunately closed while everybody deals with COVID-19. Difficult times, of course, but I'm going to try in my little isolating residence to do what I can to move this project forward, even with the museum shut down. And hopefully the ambition is to, during isolation, come up with some sort of shared online art experience that when the museum reopens can open as a new exhibit in the museum that's still connected to that experience. So that is what I'm going to be working on for a while. But I'm not quite ready for that yet. One, I just want to get back into the habit of streaming a little bit. And then two, I want to just do sort of weird tech experiments for a little while just to get things flowing in the direction that I want to go. And then hopefully by the end of April, kind of early in May, I'll have a direction that I want to really pursue. And then May and June, I'll try to really pursue that direction. So I think that's all the things I wanted to say. Over here. Oh no, Life is Yours missed everything I said. Oh man, Draclin, thanks for the summary. What was the question? Did I change the heat cursor? I may have changed it for that new version that I did for that online Twitch experience. Is this different? Oh, heat doesn't even work right now, does it? We should probably add some heat to these videos. Heat's another thing I made. How does heat work? I don't remember. I did it as a browser overlay, right? Did the heat map work as a browser overlay? No, I don't even remember anymore. Let's try it. Let's try to add a... This is great because I'm immediately distracted. This is perfect. This is what these streams are all about. So yeah, I definitely sometimes did an overlay in OBS. I think I did for the heat map itself. And I think it was smart enough to like... Okay, yeah, okay. Heat's heating. Oh, you can't double click. Don't double click because it makes the video get big. Okay, yes.
Just a sec.
Whoa, Siri. Nobody was talking to you. Okay, good. So, I've been distracted. I've been heat visioned. We've got audio. We've got music. I have a computer. I think we're going to talk about MIDI a little bit. Or just the topic of the day. This will be our little mini MIDI stream. Do I have your sign off, fellows? Everything seem good? Like this nice amoeba over here, whatever whatever we've got here. Who's Scott Arner? I don't know. He might be related to Scott Gardner, which I also get very frequently. Okay, we're gonna switch over here. We're gonna go back here because I want to explain something. But okay, I'm gonna turn off heat for just a second. Okay, here's the thing I want to explain, and this is why I'm thinking of MIDI right now. The one, MIDI 2.0, I think was like codified recently, and it's cool and interesting, so like MIDI's just in my head a little bit. MIDI is like kind of a protocol for musical equipment to communicate that's about 40 years old. It's like basically the same age as me. I turned 40 a few weeks ago, by the way. So I was thinking about it because I frequently make these like noisy projects, and they often are like have some physical aspect to them. Maybe now's the time to look at some stuff. Can you hear me on this overlay? Is this overlay all good audio wise? I didn't like mess up and do the thing I do sometimes. Yeah, okay, good. So let's just like do one of these. So some things, like physically things that I've made in the past that are audio sorts of things. Why doesn't my website work? Does my website not work in Microsoft Edge? That would be funny. Huh. I thought I would just try Edge out, but maybe it was all a mistake. Wow. That's really funny. My website doesn't work in Edge. Cool. Okay, well, let's ignore that for a minute. Maybe we'll fix that on another stream. It's broken in Chrome? What did they do? What changed? What stupid thing changed on the website that I haven't, like the code hasn't changed for years? Oh, is there some dumb problem? That's awesome. Wait, you think so? It's the stats? It didn't look like stats. It looked like some set attribute thing for my infinite scroller. Wow, how long have I only been showing like a few years worth of work? I don't feel like it's been that long. And it's looked like an infinite scroller problem. Jetpack Infinity module. I think there was a WordPress auto update recently. Okay. Cool. I mean, yeah, this is only going back to 2015, so there's like another decade of projects missing. Okay, well, anyway, that's fine. We'll just guess some URLs. Like this one. So this is an example of a like noisy, invisible tech project that I did where you touch these beats and they play some drum noises. And in this project, it used a Raspberry Pi, and I think it used Pygame to trigger the audio. So that one was all Python. Well, I'm glad I know my website's broken. Oh, bummer. Infinity blog title. I don't have that. This project was pure data and Arduino and BeagleBoard based. So this was like a totally different way of touching things and playing sounds. And I've done like stuff for the Children's Museum that plays sounds. And I did like this one. Is that what it's called? The Watchman? I don't know what it's called. We may never know. Hey, I found it. Like this one was also some totally different thing, maybe pure data and Raspberry Pi. It's like, my point is I frequently do these things and then use totally different, that was a fishbowl, is do all these projects that are, the conceit is there's some physical interaction and there's some sound that plays. And every time I do it in a different custom way. This last way that I did it was probably the most ridiculous of all, where I was like playing the audio in a web browser that was connected to a server that was connected to hardware. Like, it was all ridiculous. And one of the things I really struggle with those projects is because like the technology, the tech part, the hardware, software, tech part is really tightly coupled to the audio part. I've often found myself feeling super limited in terms of what the audio can do. Like this last web project, it was like, okay, I feel limited by what I can do with the web audio API with Tone.js. Tone.js is cool, but it still felt really limiting. So I've been thinking of a way around that. And I think the thing I want to do is just build kind of a generic bridge that will talk to the hardware I create, and then all in software, it'll figure out all the weird audio related nonsense I want to do, but it will put out MIDI, like this totally standardized message for communicating with music hardware and software. And I think that sounds cool and good, and I kind of want to do it for everything going forward. Now, I will say I could also just have the Arduino, like these guys, this guy. I could potentially have that just speak MIDI, certainly, and then that could hook to hardware. But I don't want to do that because I can't iterate as fast on the Arduino. Like on an embedded system like this, I don't really want to do a bunch of sort of like musical logic. I really want to just use it for reading data and spitting the data over. So, Dracula's piano things. We're going to like make piano things. We'll make a one-key piano today. It's going to be very exciting. So just to talk, I've done a little bitty test of this that I think kind of validates the approach, but I want to like brainstorm ways to make it better. Oh, these headphones are bad, by the way. Look at how weird these headphones are. They like open sideways instead of up. So as I change this setting, instead of getting looser up here, they just get wider and wider. I don't know. I don't know why you would. Why would you make headphones like this? Why would you do it? That was an aside. I got a little distracted. Okay, so let's briefly talk about the pieces at play here. I have one more piece I want to add. Okay, we'll just go through these pieces. These are the tools that I want to use to make this happen. First one is very obvious because we do it all the time. First one is Arduino. So like there's of course other ways to do this. Of course I could use like GPIO pins on a Raspberry Pi, whatever, but I want to use an Arduino because it'll just always work. And it is ideal for this scenario of just talking to some hardware and then sending that data about the state of the hardware to whatever control system I want. So of course, probably you've seen this a million times. But I think there's a reason you've seen it a million times because they're really convenient and nice to use. So the idea is that whatever my sensors are for sensing the world will be connected to the Arduino. In this case, there's just this one button. I have like no equipment here, so I have one Arduino and I have one button, and I've just made a button that's hooked to the Arduino. And the idea is when I push that button, I'm going to tell my computer that button got pushed. Of course, the Arduino could do a million more complicated things, but I don't want it to. Like the Arduino could be hooked to other hardware to trigger audio, whatever. But in this instance, I only want to use the Arduino purely for sensing, for bringing data into the computer. Now, there's always this issue when you decide that you want an Arduino to talk to a computer of kind of how do you want it to speak. You very frequently will use serial, like a serial connection. So that's the phone line that you use. That's how they're going to talk together, but it's not the language that you're going to speak. And it's very common. I've done it a million times. I've known plenty of people that have done this a million times to end up basically writing your own protocol. Like you kind of write your own language for the Arduino to speak to the computer. And there's definitely cases where that's smart and it can be really efficient. But there's also cases where it's annoying because it's like, how many times do people need to know that a button got pressed on an Arduino and tell a computer. That's a very frequent use case, and there's no real reason to reinvent that wheel every single time. So I like something, and I've used this in the past, and I haven't used it in a while, but I'm rediscovering my fondness for it, called Fermata. And the whole idea of Fermata is that it is just this generic protocol. Like, it's a generic version of that kind of language that you're going to speak from one place to the other, and you can speak back and forth. And it has lots of like really convenient shortcuts for things that are very frequently done, like knowing if a button is pressed, that really minimize the amount of code that you need to actually write on the Arduino. And if you put standard Fermata on the Arduino, you can also control the state of the Arduino that you would normally have to like write code on the Arduino for, to say this pin is input or this pin is output. All of those kinds of things, actually, if you want to, you can do from the host machine that's talking to the Arduino. And what's cool about that is then there's definitely scenarios where you can just put standard Fermata on your Arduino and never have to write any Arduino code, because it's just going to handle everything you need. I don't often do that, but I have. There's another thing, though, that I like, is this guy, configurable Fermata. Did I type that incorrectly? So configurable Fermata is still Fermata, but you can kind of go through and pick the features that you want. So there is this like web interface for it. Where is it? Some online, this online thing called Fermata Builder. Yeah, one second. Yeah, so Fermata Builder. Lets you go through and you can kind of pick the features that you care about. Like, oh, I care about digital input or digital output or any of these things. And then you can kind of streamline your setup, but you can also add features that aren't part of the core. Like one of the ones I'll be using for project soon is Fermata Encoder, where you want to use rotary encoders. So it's pretty handy. You pick these options, you click build and download, and then you just download Arduino code to throw onto your Arduino and potentially don't have to mess with it. I typically end up messing with it, but you don't have to. So we've got like two pieces of our process now, right? We've got the sensors that we have that are going to be connected to the Arduino. So they're going to talk by, being directly connected. It could be any number of things. It could be digital or analog or I2C or SPI or whatever, but we're going to have sensors talking to an Arduino. That's like step one of our communication. Then we want the Arduino to talk to the computer. So that's kind of step two. Now we've covered that. We're going to use Fermata. We're going to send Fermata messages. Maybe we'll do custom ones. Maybe we'll use stock ones to the computer. So the next question is who on the computer is listening? You've seen me use Node.js a million times. I like it. Lots of people don't love it, but I really like it for fast iteration. I like it because it's just simple JavaScript, really easy to deploy, really easy to test. So the idea is that on these computers that will be connected to this custom hardware, we'll run a Node.js script whose job it is to listen to those Fermata messages. So that part's pretty easy. It's going to listen to the Fermata messages. So we've got hardware to Arduino to Node. So we've got like sort of the three pieces that we care about and two segments of communication between them. Then now we want to talk to music hardware. So we're going to do whatever magic we need to convert those arbitrary, whatever the arbitrary sensor data that we send in. Node, we're going to have logic that says like, oh, you push that button. Let's say that actually means you pressed this key on a piano keyboard, and it will construct the MIDI message. And again, MIDI is just this musical instrument digital interface. It's just a standard for having hardware communicate with other hardware. And MIDI messages there's like various categories of MIDI messages. I'm not sure if I know them right off the top of my head, but one of the main ones is like note messages. Actually, it probably says right here. So you can have, yeah, like you can have a note message that's going to say, what note did I press? What's the velocity that I pressed it? Did I press it or did I release it? There's also control messages that can change other things, like other parameters. So you can kind of just send sort of like arbitrary control messages back and forth. So that is, I think that's going to serve me broadly to do the things that I need to do. I think that just using MIDI. And one of the nice things about that is then I could do some insanely customized, yes, that's true. Ableton can talk to Fermata, but I won't need to with this new system. With this system, I can plug into whatever, GarageBand, Logic, Ableton, some old hardware synth from 1985. Like, it doesn't matter really what I talk to with MIDI. And so that's why I want to do this. And it is, I admit, there's some like, it's a little architecturally clunky where it's like, well, this talks to this, and this talks to this, and this talks to this. Hardware talks to Arduino, talks to Node, talks to MIDI hardware. So it's like a multiple hop process, but I actually prefer that because then the individual pieces of the project are sort of siloed in a way where it's like, when I'm worried about hardware, I'm just worried about hardware. And when I'm worried about audio, I'm just worried about audio. I don't want those like totally tangled and intermingled because I found that to be not only clumsy and sort of like a little difficult to manage, but it has also, I feel like, compromised the projects that I've worked on. I'm going to add one more piece to this. This just as an example of what the output is. And we played with this a little bit before, which is web MIDI, which this is a web MIDI keyboard. I can just type around on it and play these notes. But it also can connect to MIDI ports and receive data. So in this case, I'm using a virtual MIDI port, which is like, that's another conversation to have. It's this software called Loop MIDI, where I can basically like have two pieces of software talk to each other that normally wouldn't. I'm only doing that because Windows is a little dumb and doesn't let you make virtual MIDI ports. So I'm kind of just going to ignore that step. Now, as far as the code I have so far, which is a little clunky and silly, but was like my just proof of concept to just even make sure this is going to work, just to go through the pieces that we have. So first we have our hardware and what's going on in the hardware. So I literally have two wires going from a button to an Arduino. One of those is a digital pen and one of those is to the ground. So when I push the button, it's going to close, it's going to ground that digital pen and the Arduino will know that I pressed the button. Sorry, I got a message. Okay. And so just briefly looking at that, I didn't write much of this Arduino code. Much of this Arduino code actually came from that Fermata builder. In fact, maybe I didn't write any of it. I can't remember if I did the digital input report, but this is more or less straight stock digital Fermata. It may have actually done almost all of the work for me. So I can press that button. The Arduino will know that I pressed that button. So that's very easy. Next, I want to talk to Node. And so I have this Node.js script started that kind of has two pieces. One, it has this Fermata piece for Fermata.js, and it's going to just do the setup to have the board listening for Fermata messages. And this Fermata library does, again, most of the work for you. There are some, it's a little clunky to get it working sometimes, but I still like it. And then on the other side, there's like the MIDI side. And it is what's going to be responsible for opening a MIDI port, connecting to a MIDI port, and sending some MIDI data. This is like kind of the minimal example, this like super simple, super minimal example. But just to walk through it briefly, a lot of this code came straight from Fermata examples, but I'm going to look at COM3. This is how Windows talks about its serial ports. This, I have problems with the capabilities. I don't know why with this library. So this is just happens to be a flag that I have succeeded with in the past. Wait, what are you scratching? What itch are you scratching? Am I scratching itches? Alert scratch. What is it? What? Am I scratching? What am I doing? Oh, you're scratching the... I thought you were saying I was like touching my face or something and you're helping me. No, you're scratching the itch of causing needless alerts. Of course. Of course. I'm doing too. It's been a while. I can alert myself. Okay, yes. Yeah, I kind of forgot about alerts. I'm glad we know that. Okay. What was I doing? Yeah, this is just to connect to the board. All of this is just like callbacks for various things that the Arduino library is watching for, the Fermata library is watching for. The board's open, it reported the version, query the firmware, all that stuff. I'm not even paying attention to any of this stuff. So I'm ignoring all of that. All I really care about is when the board is ready, I'm gonna configure the board. And this is what I was talking about. Some of these things that you normally would have to do on the Arduino, you can do on the like host code side, like setting that pin 7, that pin I'm plugged into, to have its internal pull-up resistor on. So that, and then to say, when that value changes, if it goes low, send one MIDI message. If it goes high, send the other. We're not to the MIDI part yet, but that's what's happening here. So it's very simple to say, hey, the state of that button changed. I want to do some custom logic. And this, again, is like just really simple prototype testing code. Down here is the MIDI code. So it uses a MIDI node library. I'm creating an output port, or creating output and then connecting to an output port. I wouldn't do this if I wasn't on Windows. Windows is just not great about MIDI. Like Mac OS in particular has like really stellar first-class MIDI support. It's really easy to do like virtual ports and stuff. It's not as great in Windows. So this step is a little clunky, but basically all I'm doing is saying, let's connect to something. And in this case, it's this virtual MIDI port I've created elsewhere. This would be simplified on a Mac for sure, or probably simplified on a Linux machine. And I almost always use Mac's installations, but I'm moving towards using Linux installations, so it wouldn't be quite as clunky. And then when it connects, it just sends kind of an arbitrary message over. Another thing that's annoying, I've been preferring to work in WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux. And almost everything works here in WSL, but I actually have to use PowerShell and do all of this stuff in Windows land to make MIDI work. Because otherwise I'm in like pretend Linux MIDI land that doesn't exist, and there's not like audio world bridging yet from Windows Subsystem for Linux to Windows World. I'm sure all of that sounded very complicated if you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's actually really simple. So again, this code up here is the code that's listening for data from the Arduino. This is the code that is spitting that data out. And so that's the very core of what we want to do. And this is kind of the magic function that bridges those two things, because this is where we say, if the button changes, send a MIDI message. So let's try that now. I think it will work, but I'm not entirely sure. Because this is connected to that MIDI port over here, as you can see. That's the port I'm going to connect to here. So if I run this, yes, so I've opened my port. I've now got my Fermata connection is all good and going. So hopefully when I press this button, yeah, it's working. So this button, every time I press it, it is making that port go low. So from 5 volts to, instead of being connected to the 5 volt supply, it's now connected to the ground. Every time that happens, you see right here, I say, if I get a value and it's 0, this should actually probably be like board.low or something, so I know it's the low voltage value. But basically this is the low setting. I wonder what that is actually. Fermata node low. No, not the word follow. I want the word low. Okay, it's just board.low. So can I npm run dev this? I don't know if everything's set up quite right on the Windows environment. Yeah. So let's just change this so it's a little more clear. So when the value of that pin 7, goes low, we're going to send this message. When it goes high, meaning I let go of it, we're going to send this message. What do these messages mean? So these are our MIDI messages. 144 means note on. And actually, let's see if we can just find a good reference for that. Yeah, MIDI commands. So 144 is a note on. 128 is a note off. That's for different channels, but ignore that for the moment. We're not dealing with channels. So 128 on channel 0 is a note off. 144 is a note on. So that's what these two numbers mean. You see these next two numbers match in both cases. 60 is a MIDI key code. I believe 60 is middle C, but I might be wrong about that. So if you've seen previous streams, we've used MIDI all the time for like ways to talk about notes. Yeah, so it's C3 is 60. So this means turn on note C3. 127 is the velocity. So that's how hard we're hitting the key. MIDI signals, I believe, are 7 bits. So a 7-bit number, you can count up to 0 to 127 or 128 values. So that's what. So this is like pressing that note as hard as I can, and then this is the release. So the release is just saying the opposite of that. I probably don't actually need a velocity in the release. So was that actually true? Was that C3? Uh-oh, did I break it? I broke it already. How did I break it already? Was board low not right? Was board low not actually 0? What a sad story if I already broke it. Okay, let's momentarily undo that. It says it's open. You say you're connected to the loop app MIDI port. You say you're connected to that port. What did I do? It worked moments ago. It would appear that I'm sending data. And it kind of wouldn't appear that I'm sending data, actually. We got a 1 right there. Okay, there it goes. My very bad circuit may be the culprit. Let me just move these 2 wires. Okay. Terrific. So I can push this button. This is some C. Let's assume it's C3. I mean, I guess. That'd be C1, C2, C3. Oh, no, that's C0. C0, C1, C2 is Z. C3 would be right here. Yeah. Okay, so that's a good start, right? Like, I feel like we got an okay start here. So what do we actually want to do today? I think what I want to do today, just as part of our mini MIDI stream, I've already gone half an hour. I think I want to make a little instrument, like a very silly little instrument that lets me roll a potentiometer. I think I have one. I think I have a couple little potentiometers. Play Flight of the Bumblebees with my one button. Then we are going to want analog, which I seemingly did not include in my configurable for Mata. But that's my fault. And then I want to like make it where as I roll that little controller, it's going to pick values from this whole MIDI note scale, whatever our notes can be. I don't actually know what the valid range is. Oh yeah, my velocity is probably supposed to be... Oh, look, you can turn off notes with a 0 velocity? I didn't know that. I thought you were supposed to use... Hey, we're all learning stuff today. Yeah, we want our MIDI note list, which, according to this, is like 12. No, 0 to 127. So that's reasonable. So we'll get some We want to get some little potentiometer value. We want to get that value and use it as the note, like turn it into an integer whenever we click a button. That sounds not too hard, right? Okay, I'm going to take a very brief break, and then I'll be back. And hopefully we have the supplies to do this with the very limited supplies we have. I have some twist ties that I could use as jumper wires, maybe. But I have some wire, so I think it'll be okay. It'll be okay. Okay, I'll be right back. Hello, I'm back. Am I back? This mic, I like this mic. I just want to show you this mic because I'm into it. I don't want to actually touch it or move it, but I want to show you the mic that I got because I think it's a cool little mic. It's this Rode NT Mini. And I've been interested in the bigger Rode mic that's a little costly. I think it's just the Rode NT USB. But this little guy, it's $100, which I think is a decent price, but it's pretty compact. It's cool. It's got USB-C, which I like. I kind of don't want to buy anything that doesn't. It's got this interesting magnetic mount. This connects to this via magnet, although I took it off and put it on this arm. Oh, maybe I can just tilt this down slightly. Yeah, it's just on this arm. So it's a cool little mic. I'm kind of probably when I go home, or when I have a home again, because I don't actually have a home right now, I will still use my Audio Technica. What do I have? What mic do I have? It's this one, right? No, it's like got different numbers. I think it's a 2020. This guy, but which requires an audio interface. There's a USB version of this though, which seems cool. So I might get that one day too. I don't know. I like mics. What are we actually doing? We are gonna make a thing. All right, so I do Greg Witt from the Children's Museum, who is my like making things hero because he makes amazing things. Did I mess this up? Was kind enough to bring me a little baggie of components and a few tools, and so I think we can do this. I think so. We've got this little potentiometer that I don't know anything about. 202M potentiometer. Potentiometer. I don't think I spelled that right. Maybe that's not the right number to use. 8148. I think this is a potentiometer, is it not? Anybody recognize this? Recognize this potentiometer? Potentiometer is a kind of, I think, variable resistor. Is that the right word to use? Yeah, 3-terminal resistor. And like the resistance will change as I do this. I mean, it's probably the same. These pins are probably the same as those pins, right? So the circuit for this, I think you like read off the middle. Let's see. Like you connect power and ground to two sides, and then you just take a reading from the middle like this. Yeah. I bet that's what's going on here. I don't actually know if the polarity matters. I don't know. I'm gonna use a potentiometer in a minute. Gotta admit. So let's just let's do it. I only have one color of wire. So I'm gonna unhook this for just a moment. So I'm just gonna stick this on this breadboard, and my ambition for this little silly instrument will be, I want to spin this little wheel, and then while I'm spinning it, oh no, do the through holes on this not fit on this breadboard? That would be a tragedy. Maybe I can cram it in. Oh, that would be really annoying. Okay, I think I crammed it in. Did I break it is the real question. Okay, yeah, so I can like turn this little wheel and get a reading from that. That'll be the analog reading we get from MIDI should be a 0 to 2, it should be an 8-bit value. But for MIDI to send 7 bits, I don't know, we gotta figure this out. I might have broken it. It's like the through holes are a little too wide for this breadboard, and I have nothing, I don't have anything else I can use really. So we'll just see how that goes. We need some lengths of wire for this guy. Which really, if we just hook up power and ground, then we can... It's just a breadboard. Yeah, it is. I mean, I know the well, sometimes breadboards like seem like they have slightly different through holes, but yeah, you're right. I shouldn't blame, it's not the breadboard's fault, it's the component. Oh, the breadboard's fine. I'm not worried about breaking the breadboard, but I clearly like dramatically bent the pins on this potentiometer, but it's probably okay. Probably okay. I mean, I just don't have anything else. I don't have any soldering equipment, I don't have anything here. That's fine. I think it's gonna be okay. So I'm gonna move it actually, now that I already maybe broke it. I'm gonna move it a little bit to over here. Okay, so that way I can turn and push my little button. It'll be just terrific. So breadboards, if you've never used a breadboard, are these like little prototyping friends. That the way these work is like you have these bars, usually you use these for power and ground, so these are connected all the way across. So if I put power in one of these pins, like in this guy right here, I'll have power all the way across. If I put ground here, I'll have it all the way across. These pins connect this way. And it's a really easy way to, if you have through-hole components, to just stick through-hole components, just cram them in here and wire them and connect them to your Arduino, and you don't have to do any soldering. It is a little babby. It's a sweet babby. Okay, so what we need to do, we really only need 2 wires. We need 4 wires going to the Arduino. We want a power and ground that are just going to hook here. We want our digital read that's going to come from this pin, but one of the legs of this guy. And we want the analog read that's going to come from this middle pin. So we only need 4 wires, even though we have 5 pins to deal with, because we'll just share. And then we also need some really mini little jumper wires to jumper to power and ground. So we need 4 mini wires. I do not have wire strippers, but I should be able to just hopefully strip with these wire cutters. Oh, I've got some fingernail clippers. I could go get fingernail clippers and strip with those. Okay, so I need, what did I say? Really 4 mini guys. I probably, oh well, I missed my chance. I did have an opportunity last week to get some equipment from the museum, and so I did, but I did not get all of the things I potentially need. Okay, so the trick is to do this without just cutting the wires. Not ideal. This is not ideal. Should I try the fingernail clippers? We don't have a ton of wires to strip, but we have enough for it to be a little annoying. This is why, in the future, I need to just travel with a little prototyping kit. I've done that in the past, but this time I thought, no, I don't need anything. We've got everything at the museum. I was wrong. It was a mistake that I made. Okay. I do actually have another webcam, so maybe if we're going to keep doing hardware type things, maybe in subsequent streams I will set up a little desk cam. Although me trying to strip wires with wire cutters is maybe not the most riveting content. Well, that one split like a banana. Great. Doing great over here. Okay, 2. So maybe while I'm doing this, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about some longer term direction I want to go with for this residency project. Long term really meaning matter of weeks, because I need to decide, but I think I know kind of high level thematically what I want. And that is, I want to create an artwork that every person who engages with it leaves some part of themselves. So say it's a song that goes on forever and everybody who visits the museum or visits online can leave a little piece of the song and it's an eternal thing. Or it's like, these are simple versions that I don't think I would actually want to do. Or it's like a quilt that everybody who visits somehow contributes a little patch to this digital quilt that extends on forever. So that's like ignoring those concrete ideas because they were just examples. That's the high level idea I would like. Going a little further into that, what I'd really be interested in, but this may just not quite be the right venue for it, is I kind of want to try to create a artwork that, like I just explained, has a contribution from every visitor, but I sort of want to try to do something where that contribution is passive. So it's like, I've been thinking of it in terms of quantum physics, like with the uncertainty principle, that as soon as you observe something, you change it. So, when you look at a quantum particle, as soon as you measure it, you have altered that particle. That's probably a overly simplified statement, but I think it somewhat holds up. And that's endlessly fascinating in the quantum world. And I have been thinking about what would it look like to create a work of art that followed those same rules, that said any person that looks at this artwork, just by the act of observing it, only by looking at it, not doing anything else, will change this artwork forever. And I think that's pretty cool. It's different than the idea of there being an eternal record of every visitor, like, you know, adding to a quilt or adding to a song. But I think it might be more interesting to say every person who looks at this thing changes this thing, and the contributions of the previous viewers may still be there to some extent, like underneath the strata of layers, of additive layers, if it's additive, or, you know, in that they created the structures that are being altered. I don't exactly know what that means yet, but I really like this direction of this evolving artwork. So that is the thing I'm going to go for, I think. So I don't know the polarity of this pot, and I don't know if the polarity of this pot matters. Hey, life is yours, electrician. Hey, electrician. Does the polarity of a pot matter? It probably does, right? Do pots have polarity? I'm asking the channel resident. Okay, so that will go low. That's low and high. And that only goes to ground. So that's our very adorable little circuit. So it does. So it has an input and output and a ground. So the polarity does matter. So if the polarity is wrong, I'll just flip the pot, or I could just flip the chords. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, so you're saying it has a definite input and a definite output, right? Those are not reversible. Okay, so then so that is good. Now I need two cables that are going to be, one is our digital read. I guess I can put this up, although I don't know that it's very interesting. I'm essentially making a circuit a bit like this, but without color-coded wires. Messed around till it works. Oh my gosh, you're fired. I think you're probably right. It's been a minute since I've used a pot, but I think it makes sense that it would have a polarity. So a little more stripping, which would be so easy if I had wire strippers. Maybe I should buy myself some nice wire strippers. Life is yours. What brand of wire strippers should I get? What's like, as an electrician? Well, but I don't really want electrician wire strippers. I want more like electrical engineer wire strippers, maybe. Well, not, even then, not maybe. I don't know. Pick out some nice wire strippers for me, but not too nice. You only got cheap ones? Yeah, that's what I always had in the past, is like cheap spark fun ones, and they're fine. Wire strippers, I guess if I was going to use them all day, every day, I'd want some nicer ones. I'm not too, I mean, it's not too critical for me, as you can see by the fact that I'm just doing this. Okay, so I've got two wires here. This is probably going to fall apart if I try to hold it up. And these are just going to be, one is our, just going to go straight to the digital read from the pen, from the button, so that we know when that pin goes low. So we've already done that. That's easy. And then the other one is going to be on that center pen, which I assume is where we're going to read our analog signal. So we're going to pick analog in. We're going to just pick A0 because it's just right there. And we're going to keep the digital pin at A7. And then we just need power and ground. There's a marker mark. For some reason, there's a marker on this breadboard. Somebody marked through the power. So maybe that's supposed to tell me that this breadboard's broken and the power bar is grounded, which would not be good. But let's just see what happens. In other words, maybe I should have done all this on the other side of the board. But, you know, board beggars cannot be board choosers. Oh, 5 volts. Oh, sorry. 5 volts. And that's ground. Okay. That's some kind of circuit. What do you got? Oh yeah, these are very fancy, like electrician ones. These are cool. The ones that like automatically pull back and strip. That's what these are, right? They kind of automatically pull off the shield, cable shield, whatever you call that. Does this work? This does not work. Maybe I should have heeded the warning. Why did that seem like it worked that time? So making this... Did that just come loose? Is that backwards? What's going on here? No, it seems okay. Okay, it's okay. That's pretty fancy. Yeah, I don't really need to be that fancy. I always just have like, you know, like these super like generic-y ones. But the SparkFun brand, I could get fancier ones, I guess. These are handy for like little electronics work because they've got little pliers on the end and stuff. Well, these aren't good because they're not very flexible. I guess I could look on SparkFun. So these are the ones I've had for years and years and years. It's something with me. Why did I do that? Strippers? Yeah, these guys. They don't have the red ones anymore? I mean, basically these, $10. So they used to have their own branded ones. I wonder why they don't anymore. And they're fine, they're $10. Fancy crimping ones. I don't often work in scenarios where I need to crimp. Sometimes I do. Oh, these are only $10 though. That's nice. I might stick with my super simple ones. Okay, so we are getting a digital read, so that is good. I think we have a problem though, because I think for configurable for MADA, I did not say I wanted analog input. So I think I need to actually I'm just going to try to overwrite this file. Okay, now I do have analog. That's all good. We are digital reporting. We are analog reporting. Okay. The pulling ones? Yeah. Well, that is a problem. Yeah, because I'm typically working with like, I mean, whatever these are, like 22 or 24 gauge wires, they're pretty tiny. Okay, so now I seem to have the thing I want, which is now I have analog. So that's going to do analog reporting. That means on the node side, we need to watch for that. And I don't know how to do that, but I'm guessing call this like digital pen for now. And we did analog. I don't know if I'm supposed to use A0 or what. Let's see. This one I'm using? No, 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 no. This isn't the real one though. It's like from Mata.js. Oops. This guy. Okay, so examples, maybe there'll be like a simple analog read. Test analog read. Oh, they didn't use the constants. Okay, but assuming this is our analog pen and this pen. It's really weird. They're not like showing any data in the callback. What a weird test. Okay, we got a crash. What happened? This.pen mode is not a function. Board.pen mode, of course. Can't set property report of undefined. That seems bad. This example is not a very good example, it seems. And for Mata.js analog read. That was the wrong shortcut. I think I just made a bookmark. Yeah, this should just be a read with a value. This isn't even like my bug though. Well, that'd be lame. I don't want to deal with other people's bugs. To upgrade, I can't remember how to like update all the packages in the... Okay, that's gonna be really annoying if this is the case. And I will hit all the wrong shortcuts because Windows terminals are Windows terminals. Board pin mode. I don't have to set the pin mode. This seems really lame. So is this just analog reading is just broken, or is it only when I'm trying to actively read it? So it's only when I'm actively trying to read it. So what's wrong here? So I am using a, maybe it doesn't like that callback. That'd be my preference though. Well, great. We're off to a great start here. They're really old issues. Is 0 not right? Pin mode's not defined. What? Oh, board.pin mode. Ha, of course. I'm slouching. Cannot set property report of undefined. So this person is saying it didn't work until they did board.pin mode. That's our pin. Board mode's analog. Should it not be, is it like A0 or something? Is 0 not the analog pin? Like, analog pins 0? I would like the 0th pin, please. Undefined. Oh, I know what the problem is. I know what the problem is, and it's a silly problem, and it's my own fault. That's embarrassing. Yeah. Sure, I know what the problem is. Okay, wait, come back. The problem is I didn't upload the sketch to the hardware. So of course it's not going to work. We added the Arduino functionality code here, but I didn't actually upload that to the device. So of course it's not going to work. I mean, maybe it wouldn't have worked until I had that thing anyway. I definitely don't want this though. I don't like that. I want this. Okay, is this going to be better? Nope, what have I done? We're still broken? Did this not upload? We have feature analog. We want an analog input report, digital input report. I mean, I'm also trying to use the Visual Studio Code. Arduino functionality, which maybe could be problematic. I don't know. I don't know the answer. It takes so long to negotiate. Yeah, it's like pen modes analog doesn't work. Am I like 1,000% confident that we actually uploaded? Says we did. It sure says we did. I guess I could know. I would see it. Even if we're broken on this end. No, it doesn't seem like it's working. It's also possible that the circuit's wrong, too. Okay, let's try this. Let's actually use the Arduino software. Okay, this is our configurable fermata. We have analog input fermata is right there. We've got lights blinking over there. Maybe I should get that Fermata tool. This thing, can you still get this? Fermata test program. Because then we can like separate the testing of the... Okay, A0. All those others are floating, which doesn't seem good. Pen 7 seems wrong. Okay, let's try the other way. Switch the inputs and outputs on that pot. I think I would remember that, but I don't. Yeah, okay. What's okay? Maybe I'm just totally wrong about what the pins are. Yeah, I would assume. Okay, what am I doing here? That's A0. If I unplug this, it should float all over the place. Yeah. Well, it's not good that it's reading those while... Okay, this pot is doing nothing. It also could be that I broke it while plugging it in. Like, who knows? I mean, the fact that it changed, so it's stable, so it's like reading. When I unplug it, it goes nuts, of course. When in doubt, unplug it all and plug it back in. Hey! Okay, good. That's the high end, that's the low end. Okay, we are getting analog data. We've got like all kinds of... Weird. I don't want these pins. Maybe it just defaults to having them all on. I also don't understand why my button's not working. Because pin mode's pin 7. We're set to input. That's pin 7. Anyway, okay. We have valid analog data. Really noisy analog data, but valid. So this is a 10-bit number, is that right? 8 would be 255, 9 would be 512, 10 would be 1024. Is that 10-bit? A wobble button. Yeah, I can look at me wobble. Wobble wobble. I really don't know why the button's not working though. That's weird. I break something about digital input? Yeah, that's true. Well, it depends on where the noise is coming from. I could just throw a capacitor across if I have a capacitor. I don't have a capacitor. No, I do. I have one. I have a little baby cap. I don't know if that would help. Let's try. Okay. Did my little baby capacitor help? Not really. Oof. I'm definitely destroying these pins. Try to straighten them out a little bit. Be good to know soldering iron. I have such a nice soldering iron at home. That didn't sound good. I just short something on the Arduino? Okay. Yeah, I could. Or I don't even have to do the work. I'm sure there's tons of like smoothing filters, but not too worried about that at the moment. We will be eventually. Actually, for the next project I'm using this one, I'm using rotary encoders that are super accurate. So okay, so this we felt like was good. We ran our fun little test program and it seemed kind of okay. So why do you break? Oh yeah, I'm using no daemon. I don't need to restart that. Why? This was supposed to be so easy, but now I'm just having dumb... Is it because I've skipped the capabilities query? I think if I skip the capabilities query, it's not going to work. Like, I think it will just get stuck forever. I think that's an issue. Oh, it did actually work. I didn't expect that to work. This is saying pin 14. Like, analog 0 should be pin 14. Now we're broken again. I mean, it let me set the pin mode of that, right? And then now we want to say analog read, that same pin that we said was mode analog. What's wrong with you? Okay, where was that? It was this person. We did pen mode on that pen. It looks like that's the pen to use. What are we missing here? Well, this guy's saying that's A0 still, so that A0 is 0. I don't know, man. I'm a little confused here. Kind of want to give up because I don't actually care that much. Oh, wait. Now it suddenly works. So 0. Okay, great. So now I'm getting my number. But now... Oh, yeah, I closed my MIDI keyboard. Okay, this is our circuit as it stands. Our very clumsy circuit. Let's go back here. We've got power and ground going to the breadboard, piece of cake. We've got our potentiometer and our button plugged into those power and ground bars, and then we also have a read line coming off into analog 0 and digital pin 7. So when I press this, we get this. So now the thing we want to do is we want to remap this 0 to 1024 value to, well, okay, we need to go from C0 MIDI notes. So we need a good remap function. I don't think there's a good one just like in node. We want to go, because we could only go from C0, right? C0 was the lowest. So we have C0, 1, 0, 1, 2. That wasn't 3. No, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, C6. So, and this would be C7. So we can go up to C7. The low end is A -1, I guess. So we can go from A -1 up to C7. So A -1 is 22. And C7 is 108. So we need to remap 22 to 108. So we're going to go from 0 to 24 to 22 to 108. Is that right? Is that what I said? Okay. Let's switch cameras before I forget forever. Okay, so we've got our data here. It's a huge mess. Oops. I've written remap functions a billion times. I just wish they... Surely there's just some like thing I can paste. Ugh, whatever. Let's just do it. Okay. So we want to say what note equals, it needs to be high minus low divided by, no, it's like value minus low so like let in low equal 0, let in high equal 1024, let out low equals 22, let out high equal 108. These are really all consts. Okay, so we're going to say that we want value minus in low divided by in high minus in low. So that gives us like kind of a normalized 0 to 1 range, right? Then we need to multiply that by the out high minus out low, whatever range that is. And then we need to add out low. Does that seem right? So if we turn it all the way down, we should be at 22. Yep. And if we turn it all the way up, we should be at 108. Oh, we're so close. Why aren't we quite 108? Am I like never quite hitting 1024? Because that should be 1024. That would be essentially 1, which would be high minus low plus low. So it should just be the value of out high. Whatever, we're going to round this anyway. I would normally floor that, but because of that weird instance. Okay, now I value that is 22 to 108 as I turn this pot. And let's just store that somewhere. Like default to 60. But anytime we get a new value here, so we'll play whatever the current note is when that button gets pressed. But whenever we get a new value, we will set the current note. Something like that. So if I just press the button, it should be a 60. Oh, but I'm constantly getting value. I went too low. Oh, I'm also not sending the note off of whatever the last note was. That's funny, so just keeping them on. So I need to, the off should be last note. And then after this, we'll say last note equals current. Yeah. Something like that. Was that super loud? I'm sorry. Can I turn it down? Is it still super loud? Is it that loud? This is the worst instrument probably I've ever created. Can I try to play a song? It's really hard. Okay, that's terrible. Let's not do it this way. Or maybe this is fine. I don't know. We've been streaming, what, an hour and a half? Maybe that's not bad for our like return stream. So maybe we can make it better another time. Because this is just a silly experiment anyway. So yeah, so all I do is turn, this button is what's playing those notes, and turning this little knob yes, this is a potentiometer and a single button. So the potentiometer says what note I'm pressing, and the button says to press or release that. I think it's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good. You don't love my one button piano? Where's Draclin? Get Draclin's opinion. Is he in Discord? I wish I could alert Draclin. Do you think I could get him to install bot made this just so I can alert him? Play when it, yes, that would be the nice thing to do, like a glissando, to actually make it play new notes as I turned. I totally could, but I kind of want to eat lunch. Draclin, don't listen to it. It doesn't sound good. It's the worst one button piano ever made. But yes, you're right. It would be nice if I monitored this to watch for a change. And if it changed, I mean, I guess I could do that. Let's just do that. Okay, let's just do that real fast. It should be easy. Because it's essentially going to be this. We're just going to say, what? Huh? What? Oh, the screen. Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. Change while the button's down. No, I'm just going to make it when it changes at all. I don't care if the button's down or not. I feel like there's ways that you can do a duration. But maybe not. Like where I could say how long to play, but I don't think that's actually true. Like I'd have to set like a little timeout to turn it off, I think. Yeah, so okay, it would look something like this. Like if I said if current note is not equal to the last note, the last thing I'll do here is say last note is equal to current note. Oops. Then we need to play the note, but we also need to say like, oops, set, like just a set timeout. I didn't mean to save there. Turn it off in 0.25 seconds. Set timeout in seconds or milliseconds? Nice milliseconds. Then we'll turn it off here. And off was what? 128? Sustaining, I'm trying to turn it off myself, but is set timeout in seconds or milliseconds? It's in milliseconds. Oh, that's supposed to be in 250 milliseconds. That it should Yeah. But it didn't. Shoot. Oh, I get really confused about this. Okay, we want longer decay than that. So we get 500 milliseconds. Let's do as you suggested and just say button down is false, and then we'll say if this is true and the button's down. Then we will also set button down is equal to false. Nope, it's equal to true. Button down. I like button down. It's a good variable name. Down equals false. Okay, so the button should still work the way it previously did. But I can hold the button. Now you're gonna make me make this better. I wanted to be done with it. Okay, so one problem is though that we don't release the note that we were holding for some reason. We could just say that this does the same timeout thing. That would be easier probably, but I don't actually care that much. Okay, so a way to make this instantly better would be to say, instead of doing this mapping, we would say we want to play a scale. And that would be like 60, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64. If we're going to play like a C major chord. Well, let's just do C major. So 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65. 60, 61, 62, 64, 65, 66, 67, and 69. C, D, E, F, G, A, 69, 70, 71. Yeah. So now we want to say, instead of the out range will be like between 0 and 6. And we will make the note this is not really the right language. Something like that. So this is going to be bad because it's not enough, but something like this. Oops, shoot. What did I do? Current note. Yeah, that's not right. Okay, why aren't we playing these notes? What's wrong with those notes? Do we like break our MIDI output or something? We got loop MIDI port. That should say, what's wrong? Oh wait, it's good. My button's just falling off. Okay. I get all the way. Oh, 72 would be next. Okay, so then if we wanted to, we would start doing like, now we want 72 plus 2, 74 plus 2 is 76 plus 1 is 77 plus 2 is 79 plus 2 is 81 plus 2 is 83. That seem right? This needs to not be 6 anymore. Do 13? That'd be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Whoa. Oh, the button exploded again. The button likes to just burst out of the breadboard. I mean the potentiometer. Okay, let's add like 2 more octaves. 84 plus 2 is 86, plus 2 is 88, plus 1 is 89, plus 2 is 91, plus... I messed something up there. That's a plus 2, that's a plus 2, that's a plus 1. No, that's right. That's a plus 2. That's a plus 2. And that's a plus 2. And then plus 1 is where, next plus 1 is where it wraps. And that will take this up to 20. This is the best one button piano I've ever made. Okay, add 1 more lower octave and then seriously we gotta be done. Life is just constantly distracting me. Okay, pushing me though, pushing me, motivating me. 58, 60, no, 48, 50, 52, 53, 55, 57, 59. Okay, just go a little lower. All right. It's terrible, but I kind of love it. Actually, I kind of love it. Like, it sort of makes me want to make a piano that's just like 8 knobs in 8 different octaves, and you can just turn different octaves at a time and kind of play them together. I think that would be sort of cool. Actually, what would be way better is if there was an internal metronome. And just as you turned, the internal metronome played. It's great. I know you love it. Well, I know it's great because it's fun and it's funny, but it's not very musical. But if the internal metronome, like as you turned, would just determine the note, but there'd be like an internal metronome clock that was actually deciding when to tick. That gets us into kind of the next thing I want to try is we did all that stuff in the browser a few months ago, or whenever that was, 100,000 months ago, I don't even know. We used tone.js, which tone.js is awesome. However, it uses web audio, so it's only for the browser as far as triggering audio. But it also has a lot of other stuff I want, like even without the audio context, I would like to be able to use it for all these other musical kinds of things. Like it has other sort of musical stuff, but maybe that's too annoying. Maybe it's too hard. Like it just has lots of handy little music things, but maybe that's too annoying because I was going to say if it doesn't, since we're not using it to play the audio, maybe we can still use it in Node, but it probably uses other aspects of the web audio API. Probably uses other clocky stuff. Audio context time, like we wouldn't have that. Did you hear that? Did you hear my stomach growl? I should probably eat some food. I'm having a grocery situation this week, unfortunately. That's okay, we'll figure it out. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe I gotta write my own metronome, all that stuff. I think that's okay. I think it's okay. Oh no. Is your network suffering? Okay, anyway. I was just looking at a webpage. It wasn't very exciting. I was just looking at a webpage. Forgive me for being on the wrong screen. But I think we're done. We made a terrible little piano that Life is Yours loves. I think with a little work, it could actually sound okay. We've got other things to figure out, though, like the musical stuff to figure out. Like, we got this little start here where I just manually wrote a little scale that we could use. And that's not bad, but it's really, it would be tough. I would have to go back and look at all that Tone.js stuff I did and decide if I can't use that stuff. Because there was lots of scheduling stuff. Yeah, I don't know exactly. Like having a global tempo and then knowing what the eighth notes, quarter notes, 16 notes, everything, what that falls into is like pretty, it's pretty intense, like clock stuff. We've built some simple clocks But if we don't have this clock, if we don't have that, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, web audio has advanced sample accurate scheduling capabilities. Well, we don't need that necessarily. We just need to trigger on the beat. But it doesn't make me worry about... Makes me worried about this like fundamentally like single-threaded nature of Node is depending on how fast we want to do stuff, which we're never going to be like sample, like, you know, audio samples are like 192,000 samples per second. We're not going to be there. We're going to be more like 30 or whatever, you know, whatever it takes to make, I guess down to maybe like a 16th note. Yeah, see, that's one of the things I really like about this is the way it abstracts. It's this right here, this understanding of when to play a quarter note, when to play a half note, when to play, like all of those things. We unfortunately had to like build that from scratch, I think. What? You can hear now, do the thing. Oh, it's not a very good thing. It's very silly. Where's the... Oh no, web MIDI. Yeah, okay, I gotta think about this because we may have to make... Where'd it go? Wasn't web MIDI the thing I looked for a second ago? How... Didn't that work? Just web MIDI example? Where was that thing? How did I lose that? Web MIDI keyboard, not web MIDI piano. Well, okay. Oh, that did the thing that I don't like, where it showed the windows from the other. Did that just do that? That thing that I hate? Yeah, where it's showing my other windows. I don't want it to do that. Draclin, where was that thing? Okay, Draclin, I'll play a song for you, but you got to tell me how to make it not show windows from the other screen again when you snap things. Okay. Here's the terrible one button piano. You can either push this button or you can hold this button and turn the potentiometer. I know, I have to turn it off because you monsters might say something horribly inappropriate on Discord. Who knows? Who knows what you might say? Like here we're having really scandalous conversations about turnips in Animal Crossing. We definitely can't have that on stream. Scandalous. Can't trust you people. Like when I do it over, yeah, that's fine. These are the windows that are okay to show over there. But like, oh yeah, cool. Okay. When I multitasking settings, when I snap a window, show me what I can snap. Oh, well, it's kind of lame that you can't, like, just make it... show the ones from that desktop, like the later part of the multi-task settings. Okay, well, I've got something to think about here, because this is actually really throws a wrench in my... Unless somebody wrote like a Node.js metronome. That'd be great. Why, when I search for Node.js metronome, did you return something that doesn't talk about metronomes at all? I want a metronome. Metronome, fully async modular application framework. That's not what I want. I don't want a cool name. I want a literal metronome. An interval ticker. Metronome style event provider. Like I like literally want a metronome though. I want to know. Wonder how good this is. TypeScript. Like if you're just using set timeout though, that's not good enough. That's not good enough because you got to account for the amount of time that it might have taken to run code. Right? Like you got to subtract the execution time. I don't think this is good enough. Because I don't know that this is guaranteed to be 1 second later, is it? Maybe it is. Is it? Is that true? Oh no, don't look at that. You people. Monsters. Monsters. Oh, you wanted me to play a nice song for you? It almost is playing Fly Me to the Moon. Oops. That almost had it. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me. Oh, it really gets mad when the thing pops out. Let me see what June is like on June. On. I can't do it now. I'm sorry. Well, then I would need, if I did that at delta time and the set timeout, I need like a really high resolution set timeout that was looking, it just seems silly. But I don't know, is maybe like set interval. Maybe set interval is good enough. Like if it's guaranteed. It just kind of depends on like internally. But I did see, what was that thing we just saw? Node. Like a higher resolution time. I wonder what set interval uses. Like maybe it's using higher performance time, high res time. How accurate? If you are sampling 4 times a second as part of the countdown, then I would expect a large inaccuracy curve. Yeah. I want nano timer. Wait, I did it again. I don't have a vibration module. I barely have anything. Are you am I supposed to be taking requests? See, yeah, I'm worried like that set interval is not. This is gonna mess up all my plans and schemes. I want pretty accurate. Super time. No, that's a timer. An article and an accurate Node.js game loop. Like how accurate? This doesn't. That's not good. Oh. Oh, that was that other dude. Well, he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't understand the problem, I think. Or that person. They didn't understand the problem. I don't know. I don't know about this. Oh, the song that was playing. I'm sorry, the song that was playing on Pretzel. I thought you were asking me to play a song. I don't think I can go back. This is part of that happy station on Pretzel. Doesn't it list in the channel what the songs are? Is that what we're talking about? Doesn't pretzel spam? Okay, I'm out of the loop. I'm sorry. I was reading documentation, the most boring part of any stream. Okay, so the way this works... Okay, this like maybe messes up my whole... Oh, unless... This guy's name is Timer. Surely, like maybe there's some good timing. Like if there's some MIDI clock stuff in here. Okay. Well, that would be from an external MIDI clock. So, I'm not totally sure about I would want that. Okay, anyway, I gotta think about that because that's actually could be a major problem with the plan. I might ruin my entire plan. Is it gonna ruin my entire plan? What a sad story that would be. I mean, it's a wrapper around a MIDI library. You would kind of assume that inside of that there would be some... Is it, maybe it only wraps... Like, you would assume that library would do good, fun clock stuff, right? Right? Do I need to write a MIDI bridge? These wrappers don't look horribly complicated. Is it weird to like want... I thought MIDI had some sort of internal clock, like... Okay, anyway. It seems like the real answer here is I gotta think about this. It's all right. Did my mic levels seem okay? Am I like, because sometimes it seems a little like I'm pegging the microphone. Is my mic too hot? Like, did you ever hear any distortion from me pushing too hard? I'm kind of redlining it a little bit when I get excited. I get a little excited. Okay, that was a weird stream, but hey, we made a weird little thing. We have a start on some stuff. I have definitely some things to think about in MIDI land. But hey, hopefully this is the weird stream that like gets things flowing. We'll have maybe another weird stream or 10 weird streams or 100 weird streams, and we'll get things flowing forward. By the way, if you're watching this on Twitch, you could also watch videos on YouTube. But if you're watching this on YouTube, which people do, I don't like to answer YouTube comments. If you have questions and stuff, you could just come subscribe or if not subscribe, whatever the thing is that you get an alert when I'm streaming and like ask me live while I'm really streaming. So anyway, I think that's all for now. My mic is loud. MIDI is loud. Okay, yes. Okay, it's all sad. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thanks everybody. We'll do this again soon. Bye.